This is Citizen Weekend with Olive Barrows.
A very good evening. Glad you could join me on Citizen Weekend. And tonight, we ask the question, are civil liberties in Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda shrinking? Are we turning into one big police state? With me in studio, I'll have Irungu Horton, who is the Executive Director, Amnesty International Kenya. I'll also have joining me virtually from Arusha, Tanzania, Donald Dea, who is the CEO of the Pan-African Lawyers Union. We'll also have joining us virtually this time from Tanzania, Chris Nkwatsiwe, who is the team leader, Policy Governance and Civic Engagement, Uganda National NGO Forum. So plenty to look forward to. And now here are the highlights.
Hawa wabunge wametuzoea. Ruto aliwatumia wapitisha finance bill. Tukatokea kwa mabarabara hii finance bill tukaikataa. Hawa wabunge sasa Ruto amerudi tena anawatumia kwenda kutoa Gachagua.
Hata ukiangalia wakati wa finance bill, hawa watu walipitisha finance bill na sisi hatukuwa tunataka namna hiyo.
You have failed us. Kenyans condemn National Assembly members over being beholden to the executive as public participation sessions on Gachagua impeachment conclude.
We have looked through the points, the accusations of His Excellency the Deputy President, and I think we're prepared to deal with them.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua crafts defense team to fight impeachment.
Risasi ya kwanza ilimpata huyu ndugu yangu mkono ikamwangusha. Nikimwendea karibu yake ndo zinamiminwa kwetu.
Renewed interclan clashes in Bangale, Tana River claim 8 lives in the last 24 hours. Police investigate suspect in taxi driver Victoria Mumbwa's murder for other murders. Tonight, I'm joined by the formidable Njoki Chege as our sign language interpreter. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has assembled a battery of 20 advocates, including senior counsels, to defend him both in Parliament and at the courts beginning next week when the House will consider his proposed removal from office. The team, led by senior counsel Paul Mwite, has been meeting with Gachagua to mount a formidable defense against the 11 grounds leveled against their client in his impeachment motion. And as Emmanuel Toon now reports, the lawyers say Gachagua will go the whole hog in seeking to clear his name.
He has been missing in action for about 4 days now, both online and offline. His last public engagement was the address to the Kalenjin nation on the eve of the tabling of his impeachment motion. However, behind the scenes, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's office has been a beehive of activities as he assembles a team of experienced lawyers to see him through the current turbulent political waters. And Gachagua, who knows too well the magnitude of his case, has put together a list of at least 20 lawyers, which will be captained by senior counsel Paul Mwite.
We have the senior counsel Paul Mwite. He's the one who's leading us. We have counsel Tom Macharia, counsel Amos Kisilu. We have counsel Elisha Ongoya, and others.
Gachagua's battery of lawyers has already hit the ground running and have been meeting regularly with their client and are raring to go.
We have looked through the points, the accusations of His Excellency the Deputy President, and I think we're prepared to deal with them.
Mwite, a seasoned lawyer with legal and political experience spanning over 30 years, has told Citizen TV that his team is already dotting the I's and crossing the T's on the documents submitted. The legal brigade is said to have met Saturday afternoon to strategize before Tuesday, when Gachagua will for the first time appear before the legislators. Mwite, who successfully defended former Embu Governor Martin Wambora against an impeachment motion, argued then that there was no proper public participation before the removal of the governor. Gachagua's team hopes to ride on this same ground, which they have sustained since the impeachment motion was tabled.
Notices, normally, really very urgent ones, they should not be less than 4 days. No more 7. We have quite a huge population in Kenya that worships on Saturday. All right? And I know they're very strict. They are in charge. And their charge finishes sometimes 6. What about them? And yet they also participated. Even yesterday, Friday, we have quite another huge chunk of population that also worship on Friday, our Muslim community.
The DP also seeks to force the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, and his deputy Uasin Gishu woman representative Gladys Boss to recuse themselves from the case, alleging that they have taken sides on the matter.
For the sake of justice, even natural justice, I think the two principal officers, they should recuse themselves.
And as the debate on whether or not he should resign from office for self-preservation rages on, the DP's team says he is determined to face his accusers. Article 75(3) of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 bars a state officer removed from office from ever holding any other state office. In what appears to be the strongest indication that he'll be staying on to fight for his political survival, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has now assembled a team of experienced lawyers who will help him walk the tightrope of an impeachment motion. Emmanuel Tor, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
National Assembly members in Nairobi led the public participation process in their constituencies ahead of next week's debate in Parliament on the fate of the Deputy President. Westlands Member of Parliament Tim Wanyonyi and his Dagoretti North counterpart Beatrice Alachi showing up to guide their constituents on their role in the impeachment process, which will influence legislators' decisions come Tuesday when the August House will debate and vote for the motion. Residents who expressed different opinions on the matter were, however, clear that the impeachment motion was not a matter of priority for the nation.
Saturday morning and the Westlands constituency office, which is usually closed on weekends, witnessed a beehive of activities. Staff members armed with forms on the impeachment motion were on hand to guide residents who turned up to exercise their constitutional right. Some consulting before making decisions, while others took their time to study the document before signing.
Nyinyi mnataka nini?
At hand to oversee the process was the area member of parliament, Tim Wanyonyi, the MP who signed the impeachment motion, making it clear to the residents that their voice will guide his decision when the matter comes up for voting next week.
Niliwafanya kazi yangu huko, mimi nilisaini nikasema jamaa ende nyumbani. Lakini mwenye mkibadilisha maoni hata mengine mimi naweza badilika. Hii kitu tunafanya hapa, hii public participation ni just to make sure that mtu hana excuse at parliament imemuonea.
Wanyonyi urged the residents to ensure their voices count, as the process, which will end up in Senate, will determine the future of the nation.
Kama wanataka kutimuana, sisi tutawasaidia. Kwa sababu wameleta Rigiji, sasa we are dealing with Rigiji. Tukimaliza wakileta mwingine, we will deal with him. Next time when you are electing a president, don't elect 2 H-mates.
Ameweza kuwa na mali mingi sana. Ametoa wapi hiyo mali? Which means ametunyanyasa sisi wananchi wa chini. Watoto wetu hawezi enda shule. Hatuwezi pata hizo madawa anasema hospitalini kwa sababu ya yeye kuchukua pesa na kubana upande mmoja. Kwa hivyo Gachagua yeye aende nyumbani.
Kama ni kuenda, dereva na makanga wote waende. Imekuwa hivi, yani dereva alituambia wakati alikuwa anaapishwa alituambia no more adoption. Tumekuwa tukiona hizo vitu zikifanyika na ni yeye mkubwa. Kwa hivyo yeye kama ni yeye wote waende.
In the neighboring Dagoretti North constituency, Beatrice Alachi took residents through the 11 charges facing Gachagua, urging them to make their decision based on those grounds. Residents who gave different opinions were critical of the process at a time when the country is facing a myriad of challenges.
NGCDF inaenda, lakini hakuna mtu anaongelelea kuhusu hizo zote. Adani ndio hiyo inatufinya mahali ingine. Alafu tumeletewa impeachment. Mimi nasema kitu kimoja. Kama ni Gachagua anaenda, acha ende na mdosi wake.
Wakati Kanjo wanaamua sasa watu watoke kwa barabara, ambaye hata mimi hapo Mudhurwa tumeshinda tukinyang'anywa simu sababu ya soko iko hapo. Alafu deputy president anaenda anasimama juu ya gari na anasema dharani, msijaribu kutoka hapa. Alafu anaambia Kenya mzima, mkijaribu kunitoa nitawaitia hawa watu. That is incitement.
Shida yetu ilikuwa moja tu. Umekataa kututambua bwana. Si ni ukweli? Hiyo ndio shida yetu tu. Kwamba tambua kabila zingine, wapende. Sababu wewe leo hii kitu yote ikifanyika, si yeye ndiye anakuwa rais.
In Dagoretti South, Embakasi West and Embakasi North constituencies, little activity was witnessed, with constituency officials in Embakasi North indicating that they were conducting a door-to-door exercise to collect the views of the public.
Tumekuja ndio tuweze kutoa maoni yetu, lakini hatujapata kitu, hatujapata form, so there is no any preparation iko huku Dagoretti South. So tumekaa stranded hapa, tumegojea, lakini hatujaona maeneo yoyote imeendelea.
With the conclusion of the exercise, Nairobi residents are hopeful that their views will count when MPs decide next week. Gatete Njoroge, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
There was low turnout across all constituencies in central Kenya as a collection of views on the motion to impeach the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, entered its second day. In Nyeri County, the exercise was done under heavy police guard in the county's 6 legislative units. That follows chaos that rocked day 1 of the exercise on Friday. As Kamau Mwangi reports, most MPs kept off the constituency offices that had been earmarked as centers for the day's exercise.
Contrary to what was witnessed across the published public participation centers on the matter of the motion to impeach Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, Saturday was rather calm and deserted as Kenyans in the region kept off constituency offices. In Gachagua's Nyeri backyard, the exercise went on and disrupted in all 6 constituencies, albeit under heavy police presence stationed here to fend off any potential for chaos, as was the case yesterday. The day providing a platform for dissenting voices to be heard.
Hii ni Rorengo Stadium, hakuna kitu ashaisema hata moja, hakuna kitu amefanya hii Mount Kenya hata moja. So aache kusema watu wa mlima wakati yako na shida.
Hakuna barabara tumeona akiwa deputy president. Hata fadhali wakati Rigathi Gachagua alikuwa MP, tulipata barabara mingi sana. Zazile alikuwa na nguvu mingi sana. Kwa hiyo miaka 2 alikuwa na nguvu mzuri sana. Hakuna kitu chochote tumefaidika.
Mimi nakasirika na bwana wa Mobi. Jana alienda Nyeri. Kwani sasa hapa ako wapi?
Hapa ndio kwake.
Hapa ndio kwake. Kama anataka kukuja akuje hapa.
Ndio tulimchagua.
Na kama Rigathi ataenda, waende wote.
Nyeri Town Member of Parliament Duncan Mathenge was the sole legislator from the county to take part in the exercise that saw 5 of the 6 National Assembly members keep off their offices, a situation replicated around the region.
My vote in Parliament is based on the grounds that have been raised and how I evaluate them against the good of the country. I will also take into consideration the views of my constituents. However, let me remind you that the impeachment is a constitutionally provided process.
In Nyandarua County, this group of Kenyans that turned up destroyed and filled questionnaires, claiming they had not been adequately informed of the venue. The low turnout was also experienced in Kirinyaga and Murang'a counties. Kirinyaga MP Njeri Maina faulted the process.
The courts are very clear. It is as clear as white and black
that public participation, for it to be sufficient, there must be reasonable notice. It has to be qualitative and quantitative.
Tunatarajia kwamba wabunge wetu wameona ya kwamba watu wanakataana na mambo ya impeachment ya Rigathi Gachagua. Na kwa sababu mambo haya ambayo yanaendelea, hatuoni jambo ambalo linafanya Rigathi Gachagua atimuliwe.
All eyes will be on the August House on Tuesday as feedback from Kenyans in the two-day exercise is tabled on the floor of the House. Kamau Mwangi, Citizen TV.
Members of Parliament from Nakuru East and Nakuru West constituencies led the public participation exercise in their constituencies on the motion to impeach Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. However, constituents from other areas of the county, including Njoro and Molo, did not get an opportunity to get civic education on the process and its importance. As Miriam Nyambura reports from Nakuru County, residents of Nakuru gave dissenting views on DP Gachagua's impeachment motion, some stating that the government's priorities are skewed.
The second day of public participation on DP Gachagua's impeachment motion, this time round at the constituency level, was met with a degree of acceptance among constituents. Members of Parliament in 2 constituencies out of the 11 in Nakuru County led the process. Nakuru Town East representative David Gikaria and his Nakuru West counterpart Samuel Arama, who are among 291 members of the National Assembly, who appended their signatures supporting the tabling of Gachagua's impeachment motion, steered the process.
Nilipata nafasi ya kuongea na wananchi na nikawaambia ni majukumu yao. Sisi hakuna mtu anasurutishwa kusema aondolewe ama abaki. Fika pale, pewa karatasi, wewe toa maoni yako, tukishamaliza na kuondoka na kwenda na hakuna fujo.
Let people come and give views on what they have been asked to come and do, not to come and disrupt. I could even see some people accusing members of Parliament that they should not go and participate in telling people what they are supposed to do. That is how it works. It's Parliament which impeaches the Deputy President, as much as people can make a lot of noise outside there.
At the Njoro Park in Njoro constituency, residents did not get a chance at civic education. They gave dissenting views on the government's priorities and the rift between the head of state and his deputy.
Wakati alikuwa anatuomba kura, alituambia mama mboga, boda boda atajua mambo yetu. Na kutoka siku hiyo sisi ni tumekuwa kunyanyazwa sisi wa mama wa mboga. Na alikuwa ametuahidi ya kwamba atatusaidia na atatuinua. Akasema bottom up. Kwa hivyo bottom up inamaanisha alikuwa anatuinua miguu juu, pesa zimwagike achukue.
Lakini mbona walete ya Gachagua atikue to participate? Yet, mimi hiyo karatasi, by the way, I won't lie, sita sign. Why? Because niliwapea kazi wote.
Hoja hii itakuja kwa wakati unaofaa. Kuna mengi tunayotarajia kama wananchi tulipochaguana na kura tulimaliza 2022. Hii fund ambayo tunatupa hapa kwa public participation ni kupoteza wakati. Tunapoteza wakati kupanga laini kupiga kura na tunapoteza wakati kufanya participation.
The conclusion of the 2-day public participation process paves way for a debate on DP Gachagua's impeachment in the National Assembly next week, with Nakuru residents waiting to see whether their views will be incorporated. Miriam Nyambura, Citizen TV.
Participation process across various constituencies in the country was marked by a notable absence of engagement and a low turnout in areas where public opinion was supposed to be aired. Strikingly, some constituency offices remained closed throughout the day, with residents appearing indifferent to the invitation to share their views. Melita Walatenges has the country's wrap.
Residents of Baringo South attended a public participation session convened by their Member of Parliament, Charles Kamuren. Here, they expressed mixed sentiments on their opinions on the proposed impeachment motion.
Tumewachagua wabunge. Sisi ndio tumechagua rais. Sisi ndio tumechagua kila mtu.
Sitaki kazi ya kugosana. Hawa kigosana watoto yote napigana.
In Mandera, constituents gathered for public participation, where their Member of Parliament urged them to support the impeachment motion.
We are not going to force anyone, but I can assure you,
as your members of parliament, we have decided to sign because we represent you.
In Keses constituency, residents queued to share their opinions, signing forms either in favor or against the impeachment motion, though turnout was notably low.
Pia anataka kuuliza mzee mahali umetoka ni wapi? Sisi huwa tunasema tunapunguza bibi, lakini ile ya kusema ati mzee na bibi waende, tunasema hakuna bibi, siku hakuna shamba yake. Tunasema ni mzee, bibi ataenda nyumbani, tutafute bibi nyingine na mwenye ako na zura na mwenye anachunga na watoto.
In Mboni, residents came together to voice their opinions and filled out public participation forms, with many expressing dissent regarding the proposed impeachment of Gachagua.
Yale masuala ambayo yanapaa kupewa kipaumbele ni ile mpango wa kuuza uwanja wa ndege Adani Scandal, na kuna mpango mwingine wa walimu hawajapata pesa. Kuna watoto wetu ambao wanasoma na masomo ya chuo kikuu yametatisika.
Ironically, in Kibwezi West, the home turf of motion mover Mwengi Mutuse, locals largely ignored the meeting. In Kisii County, constituents from Bonchari, Kitutu Chache South and Nyaribari Chache turned up for public participation, but expressed that the motion is not a priority.
Let them, first of all, give priority to things that are affecting the common mwananchi, things like SHA, education and etc.
Ukiangalia mashule yetu haina pesa. Ukiangalia walimu maandamano, daktari maandamano, mbona hawakushughulikia hizo vitu zote, wanakuja kuleta impeachment ya Gachagua.
In West Mugirango, however, the constituency offices were deserted and there were no activities. Residents who showed up had no choice but to return home. Melita Olitenge, Citizen TV.
And in Mombasa, NG-CDF officers led the public participation exercise on an impeachment motion against the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. The exercise witnessed a low turnout in Mvita, Kisauni and Nyali constituencies, with Jomvu being the only place where long queues were witnessed. As Francis Mtalaki reports, persons with disability are calling for their involvement in the exercise.
Contrary to what was witnessed in many parts of the country, where members of parliament led the public participation exercise at the constituency level, in Mombasa, the exercise was led by CDF officers across the 6 constituencies, with Mvita, Kisauni and Nyali constituencies witnessing low turnout.
Deputy President amekosea nini? Kwa kuwa alikuwa anasema kwamba Mount Kenya, hiyo sio suluhisho. Kila mwanadamu anakosea. Na mtu akikosea anarekebishwa. Hata tukikumbuka nyuma wakati wa Rais Uhuru Kenyatta na huyu rais wetu wa kisasa walikuwa wanakosana, lakini hakupelekwa impeachment. Walikaa wakamaliza term yao, ndipo wakachagua tena rais mwingine akaingia.
Nimekuwa nikiangalia katika media mara sisi ndio tulipiga kura, sisi ndio tuangalie. Sisi ndio tulifanya hiki, sisi ndio tufanye hivi. Sisi ndio mlima, sisi ndio tufanye hivi. Wakati anaposema yale, aelewe kwamba Wakenya wako tribes nyingi sana.
At Jomvu CDF offices, long queues were witnessed for the better part of the day. CDF officers busy collecting views from residents who turned up for the exercise.
Rais wa nchi na makamu wake huwa ni nembo ya kitaifa, na ni wajibu wao kuunganisha nchi kuwa moja na wananchi wakafurahia. Lakini yeye amefuata mirengo ya kiukabila. Akasimamia maeneo anakotoka na kuzaliwa, mkoa wa Kati. Kila uchao Mount Kenya, Mount Kenya. Mount Kenya, Mount Kenya. Kwani Mount Kenya ndio wale wapigia kura pekee.
Ukichaguliwa kama kiongozi, lazima ujue wewe ni kiongozi wa nchi nzima. Si kwamba wewe ni kiongozi wa maeneo. Na ndio sababu Rigathi Gachagua lazima aende nyumbani ili kuonyesha kila kiongozi ambapo amechaguliwa kila wakati kujua kwamba asiwe mkabila, asiwe mtu ambapo anaangalia maeneo, ama asiwe mtu ambapo ana ubinafsi katikati yake.
Special groups in Mombasa have faulted the National Assembly, saying a majority of their members have been left out of the exercise.
Tuko na forum ambayo ilikuwa inatakana tuambiwe kwamba leo ni siku ya walemavu kutoa issue zao. Nafikiria sisi tungepatikana kwa jumla kabisa na tungepatikana idadi inayostahili.
Francis Mtalaki, Citizen TV, Mombasa.
Tonight, staffers from the Office of the Clerk of the National Assembly are burning the midnight oil as they compile responses from constituencies which successfully carried out the public participation on the bid to oust Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Even as the process returns to Parliament on Tuesday, Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna says there is a likelihood of other institutions, such as the judiciary, scrutinizing the legal issues arising from the exercise. Seth Olale with more detail on DP Gachagua's impeachment process.
Focus on the impeachment process of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua now turns to the National Assembly on Tuesday, following the end of the official 2 days public participation exercise conducted countrywide. Until late Saturday, officials from the Office of the Clerk, National Assembly were busy receiving responses from constituencies which successfully conducted the public participation as directed by the court. In Nairobi, data from all constituencies is being compiled at the Bomas of Kenya.
Baada ya hapa maoni ya wananchi yote yatakusanywa, alafu tutarudi bunge ni siku ya Tuesday. Then Tuesday ndio sasa kutakuwa na mjadala, na hapo ndio watu watakuwa wakiongelea yale maoni ambayo Wakenya wameongelea, maoni ya wabunge. Pia kunafaa kuwa na I think upande wa naibu wa rais ambao wanafaa kuja kule bunge ndio pia watoe upande wao, alafu kura sasa hapo ndio itapigwa.
But even as the impeachment process returns to Parliament on Tuesday, Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna says the impeachment process being undertaken by the National Assembly will undergo legal scrutiny.
There are other institutions, including the judiciary, that will look into the legal issues and all other issues of process in the event that anybody raises them.
According to the Parliamentary Proceedings Order Paper, DP Gachagua's impeachment motion has been prioritized by the National Assembly to commence from 9 a.m. on Tuesday, 8th October. The Office of the Clerk National Assembly will, in the next 48 hours, compile all data from the various constituencies before the impeachment process of the Deputy President returns to Parliament on Tuesday. Seth Olale, Citizen TV at the Bomas of Kenya, Nairobi County.
Members of Parliament came under heavy criticism over their legislative role in the impeachment of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, and that is to do with the process. Members of the public have taken issue with the willingness of the National Assembly members to quickly spearhead public participation over a political issue rather than use the same zeal to address matters that affect them. As Brenda Wanga reports, Kenyans used the opportunity to give feedback on an impeachment motion to express their misgivings about Parliament's increasingly subservient nature when dealing with the executive.
Second day of public participation on the motion to impeach the Deputy President saw the public turn their attention to the workings of their members of Parliament. MPs are leading the exercise at the constituency level. In a rare show of obedience, MPs mobilized quickly to effect court orders extending the period allowing their employers to give their views on the impeachment process. However, the vigor that the MPs have shown in pushing for public participation in this case does not sit well with the public.
Tumesema wote wawili tawe.
Hawa wabunge wametuzoea. Ruto aliwatumia wapitisha finance bill. Tukatokea kwa mabarabara hii finance bill tukaikataa. Hawa wabunge sasa Ruto amerudi tena anawatumia kwenda kutoa Gachagua.
Our MPs wako. Sisi tutarudi Gachagua ama hapa Nairobi or wherever everyone will be, na tutawauliza mlitufanyia nini kwa hiyo miaka 7. Wacha Ruto yeye aendelee kuwadanganya wamsukumie vitu zake hivi, wengine wanasema tu yes kama MP wa kwangu, yeye kazi yake ni yes hata ajui. He doesn't know vitu tunapitia huko Gachagua ama wapi.
Members of Parliament, however, maintain that their involvement in this endeavor is just one of the duties that is expected of them as legislators.
I said that we are mixing issues here. The issue we have at hand, which Parliament is doing now, is public participation on the impeachment of the Deputy President. These other things they are talking about is not the priority at the moment. And of course, okay, but they can talk as part way, but it cannot help them anything.
Ndio nimesema maana ya kufanya public participation na nguvu hivi kwa sababu ni framework. Imewekwa vizuri, unasema ufanye hivi na hivi na hivi.
Public participation in the legislative process is a product of the 2010 Constitution and has been both a blessing and a curse for the government since the enactment of that Constitution. Indeed, a number of laws from successive governments under the 2010 Constitution have fallen at the altar of public participation. The Jubilee government saw the push to have the Building Bridges initiative fail to pass this test, relegating the handshake duo of Uhuru and Odinga's projects to the annals of history. The Kenya Kwanza government also picking up on often overlooking the issue of public participation and consequently seeing a number of its key legislations failing to meet the threshold of meaningful public participation. The housing levy was challenged on the basis of adequate public participation, and the Finance Bill 2024 also suffered a similar fate in the court of public opinion. The recent protests against the Finance Bill illustrated how frustrated many Kenyans, especially the youth, felt about the lack of genuine public involvement and government action. That frustration again rearing its head during this impeachment process.
Wabunge wetu ni wao tulichagua, tukawapatia nguvu, wakaingia bungeni waweze kutuwakilisha vizuri ili gharama ya maisha ishuke chini. Mambo ya help, mambo ya SHA, yote washughulikie.
Because this one, the MPs do not serve us, they are serving the executive at the moment. So wameketi chini wakaona, let us impeach Gachagua. Maybe Gachagua is not servicing their interest.
The discontent among members of the public over this aspect of the democratic process is likely to continue until the government puts in place a concrete structure to ensure that public participation occurs to the satisfaction of the common mwananchi. Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV.